Today we will discuss about the right ventricle. The right ventricle, which is normally externally it makes the sternocostal surface. This is the right atrium, this is the right ventricle, this is the anterior-interventricular artery which divide the on the left side. This is the left ventricle, and this side it is called the right ventricles. So this is the anterior-interventricular artery, and right ventricle, it makes the sternocostal surface, it makes the inferior border, it also makes the base of the heart. This is called the inferior surface of the heart. It does not make the base, but it makes the inferior surface of the heart, and it makes the sternocostal surface, it makes the inferior border. So this is the external features of the right ventricle, and it lies between the anterior-interventricular artery, between the, it is a branch of the left coronary artery, largest branch of the left coronary artery, and between the right coronary artery. This is the right coronary artery. Externally it lies between these two arteries. Now we reflect the right ventricle, and you can see there are two parts of the right ventricle. This is the part which is outflowing part, which is comparatively smooth. Here you can see this part which is smooth, and it is developed from the conus arteriosus or bulbus cordis. It developed from the bulbus cordis, and the inflowing part, it is called the rough part, and which is developed from the primitive ventricular chambers. I will put the forceps from the right atrium, and I will show you my forceps which enter inside the through the right atrium, which is enter inside the right ventricle by the wall. It is called the AV wall, it is called the tricuspid wall. So it has a two parts. Inflowing part, it is rough due to the presence of muscular reeds. This is the muscular reeds you can see, and it is also called the trabeculi carni. There are three types of the trabeculi carni. One is the reeds, bridge, and pillars. Here you can see these are the best example of reeds. It is firmly adherent to the wall of the ventricles. Bridge, it is the two end which is attached to the wall, and one end attached to the two end which is attached to the wall, and the between part which is free, and it is called the moderator bands. This is the moderator band. Here also on the posterior aspect you can see this is the moderator band. Here you can see this is the end, both end which is attached, one end attached to the ventricular wall and one end attached to the papillary muscles. It is called the moderator band. So there are many unnamed bands. Bridge are also present, and third one is the pillars. This is called the pillars. It is the papillary muscles, one end attached to the ventricular wall and one end attached to the cusp of the tricuspid wall through the thread-like structure. It is called the chorda tendini. So inflowing part, it is the rough part of the ventricle which is developed from the primitive ventricular chambers, primitive ventricles, and it has three parts. One is the reed, which is throughoutly attached to the wall of the ventricle. This is the reeds which is throughout attached to the ventricular wall, and the bridge are the two end which is attached to the wall and one end attached to the middle part which is separate. It is not attached to the wall. It is called the bridge. It is called the moderator band. Third is the pillar, one end attached to the ventricle wall and one end attached to the cusp by the chorda tendini. It is the hair-like thread-like structure or hair-like structure which is attached to the through the papillary muscles which is attached to the cusp. Outflowing part, which is smooth and which is developed from the bulbus cordis, and this is the bulbous coldix, and it is also called the infundibulum, which give rise to the pulmonary trunk. This is the pulmonary trunk, here you can see, and which is guarded by the pulmonary valve, which is guarded by the valve which is called the pulmonary valve. It is called the semilunar valves. Pulmonary and aortic both are guarded by the pulmonary valve. So during the fetal life, whatever the blood from the right ventricle which is ejaculated inside the pulmonary trunk, and through this pulmonary trunk, the blood which goes to the aorta, arch of aorta, it is called the ductus arteriosus. This is called the ductus arteriosus. After the fetal life, this ductus arteriosus, which is converted into the fibrous structures, if it remain patterned after the birth, then it is called the patterned ductus arteriosus. So normally, whatever the blood inside the fetal life which is ejaculated through the right ventricles, and it goes inside the pulmonary trunk, 80% of the blood which goes inside the aorta through the ductus arteriosus during the fetal lives, and it goes to the general body circulation instead of it goes to the pulmonary circulations. So during the fetal life, the right ventricle have a more workload as compared to the left ventricles. So that's why during fetal life, this wall which is thicker as compared to the left ventricles. But after that, what happens? After the birth, the wall of the left ventricle, which is nearly 3 times thicker than the right ventricles, because the ductus arteriosus, which is close, as well as foramen oval, which is close inside between the two atria. So it lead to there is a more workload over the left ventricles. The blood whatever which goes inside the pulmonary, which is not passed through the ductus arteriosus. That's why whatever the blood which is coming from the left ventricle more workload as compared to the right ventricle. That's why the wall of the left ventricle after the birth which is thick than the right ventricles. So this is about to the wall of the ventricles, right and left ventricles. The papillary muscles. Now we will discuss about the papillary muscles in detail. Inside the right ventricle, AV valve have a 3 cusps. I will show you there is a 3 cusps inside the AV valve. Here you can see this is I have opened the right atrium, and this is the valve you can see from the atrium sides. This is the I will put the anatomical position. You have to see this is the anterior, posterior. These are the 3 cusps, 1, 2 and 3. These are the 3 cusps inside the AV valve, atrioventricular valve. Now how the attachment of the papillary muscles. Here you can see this is the anterior papillary muscles, which is nearly attached to the anterior wall. This is the anterior wall of the right ventricles. We have not cut at the margin. Just before it we have cut. So the anteriorly, this is the anterior papillary muscles, which is larger, and it is attached to the right anterolateral wall, where it blends with the right end of the septomarginal trabecula. This is here you can see this is the septomarginal trabecula. It is the moderator band. It is also called the moderator bands. Septomarginal trabecula, which is one end which is attached to the ventricular wall. Interatrial septum, this is interventricular septum. This is the interventricular septum, and one end attached to the papillary muscles. So this is the moderator band. It is called the septomarginal trabecula or moderator band. So this is the moderator band. The posterior papillary muscles, I will show you the posterior papillary muscles. Some part which is cut and it is along with the wall. Here you can see this is a posterior papillary muscles, which is comparatively smaller, and it is attached to the inferior wall of the right ventricle. Third one, I will insert the forceps inside. You can see, and I will show you just below to the behind to the anterior papillary muscles, and this middle part here you can see this thread like structure. This is the septal papillary muscles, which is nearly small as compared to the anterior and posterior papillary muscles. So it is attached to the septal wall. Here you can see it is the septal wall. This is the septal wall. So it is attached to the septal wall. Just you can see behind, you can see this is a septal attachment of the septal cusp. So these are the three papillary muscles: anterior papillary muscles, posterior papillary muscles, and this one is the septal papillary muscles. Just here you can see this is the septal papillary muscles, and they are numerous as compared to the, this is also septal papillary muscles. Next, the inflowing interior, so the two orifices. One is the AV valve. Here I will put my finger inside the right atrium, and you can see my finger, which is here. You can see this is from the right atrium, my finger which is come out inside the right ventricles. So it is the two orifice, atrioventricular orifice, it is tricuspid valve, and another is this is the pulmonary orifice. This is the opening of the pulmonary valve. It is guarded by the pulmonary valve. So this is the three cusps of the pulmonary valve. It is a different kind of the valve than the AV valve. It is called the semilunar valves. So now we will discuss about the tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve, it accommodates the tip of the three fingers. I will from the right atrium, my three fingers, it accommodates the three fingers, tip of the three fingers. Have a three cusps, has a two surface. This is called the atrial surface. The facing towards the atrium, it is called the atrial surface. The surface which is facing on the ventricular side, it is called the ventricular surface. It is the root duplications of the endothelium containing the lamina fibrosa, continues at the periphery with the valve annulus. There is a valve annulus which is on the peripheral part throughout the tricuspid valve. So an annulus, it is the collagenous tissue which gives the attachment of the cusp of the valve. So it gives the cusp of the valves. Anterior cusp, which is attached to the supraventricular crest. Here you can see the supraventricular crest. Here supraventricular crest, it is the best example of the ridge. What is supraventricular crest? It is lies between the pulmonary and AV orifice. In between this part it is called the supraventricular crest. It is the best example of the ridge. There are three type of the muscles: ridges, bridges, and pillar. Among the best example, it is the supraventricular crest. It is lies between the pulmonary orifice and AV orifice. The margin, it is called the supraventricular crest. So the anterior cusp attached to the supraventricular crest. This is the supraventricular crest. This is the anterior cusp. Posterior cusp attached to the posterior wall. Here on that posterior side, it is difficult to show you, but here you can see this is a posterior cusp. And septally, there is a septal, it is the membranous interventricular septums. Here there is a septal cusp. There are three cusps. Next, so each leaflet present a free margin of the annulus of three zones. There are three zones of the each cusp. There is a directly the rough hand of the each cusp have a three part. One is the rough part, middle part it is called the clear part, and the surrounding part it is called the basal part. So the rough part or near to the margin of the cusp, there is a attachment of the chorda tendini. It is the hair-like structures, which is one end attached to the papillary muscles and one end attached to the cos, margin of the cos. So it is the rough part of the cos. The second part, which is called the clear part, there is a no attachment, anything which is not attached, it is called the middle part of the cos. And the most peripheral part, it is called the basal part of the cos, and it is 2 to 3 millimeter in extent, thick, and gives the vascular it is the vascular, and it gives the attachment of the basal chordae on its ventricular surface. There is a presence of basal chordae on its ventricular surface. So it is also fibrous ring of the AV valve. There is a presence, and it is vascular in nature. So three part of the each cos. One is the rough, which is directly attachment of the chorda tendini. Middle one, it is the clear part, and the peripheral part, it is called the basal part, which is the fibrous ring, and it is vascular in nature. So each cos have a same characteristic. Anterior papillary muscles attachment, it is attached to the anterior cos as well as posterior cos. Here you can see this is the anterior cos and it is attached to the posterior cos. So posterior papillary muscles, which is attached to the posterior cos as well as it is attached to the septal cos. Septal cos have a attachment of the septal papillary muscles as well as a anterior papillary muscles. So each papillary muscles, anterior which is attached to the anterior and posterior, posterior attached to the posterior and septal, septal attached to the septal and anterior. So each papillary muscles which is attached to the two cos, not only one cos. Anterior papillary attached to the anterior cos as well as posterior cos. Posterior papillary attached to the posterior cos as well as attached to the septal cos. Septal cos, septal papillary muscles attached to the septal cos as well as anterior cos. So each papillary muscles attached to the two cos. So that's why it is during the ventricular contractions or during the systole, there is also before the ventricular contraction start, there is a contraction of the papillary muscles. It leads to there is a closing of the valve. So just before the initiation of the ventricular contraction or systole, there is a contraction of papillary muscles and contraction of the simultaneous all three papillary muscles. It leads to there is a closing of the AV valve, and each papillary muscles attached to the two cuffs, not single cuffs. You have to remember, anterior papillary attached to the anterior cuffs and posterior cuffs. Posterior papillary muscles which is attached to the posterior cuffs as well as septal cuffs, and septal papillary muscles which is attached to the septal cuffs and anterior cuffs. During the ventricular diastole, the ventricle which is relaxed and the papillary muscles which is slack, it lead to there is a AV valve which is open. It lead to there is a opening of the AV valve, and opening of the AV valve, it lead to the blood which is coming from the atria to the ventricles. And during the systole, the contraction of the ventricular wall, before the ventricular wall contraction, it lead to there is a papillary muscles contraction, and it lead to there is a contraction of papillary muscles. It lead to there is a closing of the AV valve. Pulmonary valve, it is cusps are half moon shape, and it is called the half moon shape. So here you can see each cups, it is like half moon shape. Each cups, it is half moon shape. So it is called the semilunar valve, most superior and anterior valves. So it is lies most anteriorly as well comparatively superior valve than the other valves. So it is most anterior valve, and three semilunar cups, right anterior. Here it has a three this is the right anterior, this is the left anterior, and this one is the posterior. So it has a three curves. The facing towards the left side, it is called the left anterior. Facing towards the right side, it is called the right anterior and posterior. These are the three curves of the pulmonary valves. So midpoint of the pre-margins, where there is a localized thickening, here you can see it to the midpoints, there is a thickening of the valve, and it is called the fibrous tissue, and it is called the nodule of Aranticus. It is called the nodule of Aranticus. And the thin margin, this is the thin margin. This thin margin, it is called the lineule. It is called the lineule. And this is the thick margin, it is called the nodule. Each curves have a same characteristic. Middle part which is thick, and it is called the nodule of Aranticus, and the peripheral part, there is a thin part, it is called the lineules. There is a pulmonary sinus just above to the pulmonary valves. There is a pulmonary trunk which is comparatively wider, and during the end of the systole, whatever the blood into the intraventricular pressure falls, it led to, there is a blood inside the pulmonary trunk which is goes back, and this which is fill up these cups, and filling of these cups by the blood, it led to there is a closing of these valves. So this is about to the pulmonary valves.